John Payton put together a solid game plan 2 weeks in a row. This is a big.
But overall, I can't complain too much. We just need to see some
Worked at an exceptional level against very good teams.
This was our third win in a row. Very happy. I'm just concerned about. All right, guys, welcome back. Mile High Minute. We took a little break, and now we're back to discuss the last two games, but probably we'll be mostly discussing last night's game. So I'm going to lead it off to the guys. Your quick thoughts. Let's go with Todd. We'll start at the bottom.
So what?
Of the screen.
My quick thought is, and it's a very, very happy thought. Watching Bronco games is fun again. Officially fun again. We went into Arrowhead and played them as if we knew we could win. Last play was a bummer, but I got to tell you, I feel great about yesterday's game. It was so much fun that I wish we could have played another one today. But it just feels like that was a significant step to know that we can go to any stadium in the NFL and be competitive. And it's not smoke and mirrors. This team is really getting better every week, and I'm looking forward to the future.
I'll go next. Of course, I'm the believer here, but Bo Nix is good, actually good, and it is exciting to see us, getting off the quarterback carousel and really finally having somebody that I feel like we can build on. That's the two hardest pieces to get right are the coach and the quarterback, and we got that. So the future is bright.
Gavin.
I'm still in a deep pit of darkness and despair. I am so pissed off. I am so angry. I just can't get over it. This is one of the worst losses I can remember in a long damn time. These guys touched on it. There's a lot of good here, but holy crap. We had them in Arrowhead. We haven't beat Mahomes in Arrowhead ever since he started playing. Last time we did was against Alex Smith during our Super Bowl run 2015. So to be this close and all that, it hurts, man. It hurts. So I'm still licking the wounds. There's a lot of stuff to look back on. I do think this is the type of loss that can light a fire under a team's ass and put the bitter taste in their mouth and just kind of plant the seed in these young bucks that this is your rivalry now. This is why it's a rivalry. These are the games you play for. These are the games you remember when it comes playoff time, and hopefully it turns into that. But for now, I'm still going to be pissed.
Well, I just to follow up on that. So I think Sean Payton has a really good perspective on games like these. We all remember because we were there. Excuse me, when he was on the other side of the field, and we blocked the extra point and ran it back for a 2-point conversion and won the last play of the game. He also was coaching at the Minnesota Miracle when Stephon Diggs, with no time left, ran 63 yards and knocked the Saints out of contention. So I say that because I thought what he said yesterday was really good, which is, if you play football, you're going to have games that you should have won that you lost. And sometimes you're going to have games that you should have lost that you win, and you just need to move on from it. I do think that this was a very good maturing thing for the team. And I'd much rather have lost like we lost yesterday than losing by 14 and not containing Patrick. And man, there's a whole lot of season to go.
Yeah. I agree with all of that. But with the outcome of the game, I would have rather them have gone for the touchdown. If we're going to lose, if you're not going to have the right people in the right places and the coaches are not going to have, I agree. I'm trying to finish that thought, not just keep jumping because my brain is jumping on this issue. I understand what Sean said. And he said, hey, it was on the coaches. It was on us. Yes, it was on you. You had Alex Forsythe trying to block 3 people. You could see where that setup was coming. It already happened during the game. They blitzed through us. They should have known something was coming up on that.
They did. They were struggling with the Panthers game and the Saints game
Yeah.
before that. There were signs.
Yeah.
So I will just say the mistake that was made there, I believe, was that he should have been lower in his stance, blocking low. I think he was so concerned that they were going to try to jump over him that he was a little too high, and that's why he was allowed to be bowled over that way. So it's a technique mistake. You know, the details matter, and that's what he learns from that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that doesn't help against 3 people coming at him. Like, they were expecting them all to come on one side when, again, I'm not a coach. I'm just looking at what I see. And fine, that is technique and everything. But it was just something about it wasn't right.
Yeah.
And
Kurt should have been blocking to the inside rather than trying to get the outside rusher too, which would have made it, instead of 3 guys, it made it 2. So there's that too. But
yeah. All right. Well, that's enough. That's like leading into everything we usually talk about in good, bad, and the ugly. So hopefully, well, I know this.
Did we just cover the ugly?
We'll have more to say on issues, so that's not going to be a problem. So I'm going to lead in. We're going to have our normal, which is good, bad, and the ugly, as I just said. So let's have Steve start out with the good.
I'm going to go with Estime reviving the running game. He had some fumble issues, obviously. They put him on the bench for a bit. Clearly, they work with him. There's still I'm still a little nervous because I feel like he's still not doing the best at covering up the ball when he needs to. I think he's just got a little too much faith in his arm strength there. So I could see it coming to bite us in the ass. But even on that last drive where we were really trying to kill the clock, they trusted him to hold onto the ball and make the plays, and he was doing it. So good job on him.
Who you want to pass off to?
Oh, let's go with Gavin.
All right. Well, you stole mine a little bit. I was going to say Estime. They gave him the second most percentage, the highest percentage. He did like 63% of the snaps, whereas Javante is the highest. His gotten this season was 63 in game 2. So kind of crazy. I guess I'll praise a little bit of Sean Payton in the game plan. I thought it was pretty unique. They threw a lot of stuff at KC that Reed didn't have tape on, and he kind of knows that's how to kind of beat him is to throw something that he hasn't seen before, because if you've seen it, Reed will exploit it. So, putting a lot of faith in Estime, spreading out the field enough to allow the run game to develop, give Bo a good eye of the field. That touchdown to Sutton on 3rd and 1 was a fantastic play call. That caught him completely off guard, and that was an excellent touchdown. So there was a lot of good stuff. We're all improving here. I think Sean's improving as a coach with this young team and gelling a little bit and trying to figure out what works, what doesn't, and we're starting to kind of see the fruits of all that gain some traction, I think. Todd.
So I will just call out the good, which is a continuing trend that I think is just awesome, which is that Bo Nix threw to 7 receivers in the first half. He threw 8 total, but his ball distribution, his ability to receivers on the field is very far ahead of where we thought he would be. He's just a very mature quarterback, and I think that's a reflection of it, is that he's obviously checking out multiple options. He's got confidence in all of his receivers, and he just looks like a pro. He just looks like a pro right now. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, he leads all rookies in touchdowns at 10. He leads all rookies in passing, rushing, and receiving touchdowns.
I think we're shocked.
That's the crazy thing is he had an offense that wasn't gelling in the first half of the first half of this half of the season. So, I mean, I see nowhere but up, but I think that also kind of foreshadows what we'll talk about later too. My good is it's a little bit beyond my first thing I'm going to say, which is Nick Benito got his 7th sack in a row. Well, he's had more than 7 sacks, but he got his 7th. He got a sack in his 7th game in a row.
Oh, cool.
So,
I thought it was his 8th game. It's his 7th.
I think this is the 8th.
I heard 7. So
I thought he
7
had
or 8, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he keeps the streak going. Yeah.
That's an amazing sack. That's an amazing stat. And I was gonna, if we ended up not having the show last week. If we had the show last week, my good was I was going to talk about Jim Leonard, who is the defensive defensive backs coach and the defensive passing game coordinator. Did you guys know he played for us for 1 year? Yeah. He played for 10 years in the NFL and he played for the Denver Broncos for 1 year. He also played for Wisconsin, so he was a 3-time All-American DB at Wisconsin. Do you know who his coach was?
In Wisconsin?
At Wisconsin.
God. Lombardi?
Mm-mm.
That would have been
somebody we've been praising lately. Vance Joseph. Vance Joseph was his coach when he was at Wisconsin.
Cool.
And I didn't know this either. He was also asked to come and be the DB coach in 2023, but he said no because he wanted to stay at Illinois for another year and work with them. So whatever he's doing with these guys, it's working out and it's working pretty well. So that's what I'm going to call my good. So, cool. All right, we're going to go with the bad. And since I was last, I will start. Mine's going to be quick. Sutton, catch the damn ball. That's it. You are the senior wide receiver on this team. You need to be catching those balls. He's a rookie. He needs your help. I understand sometimes a bad throw is a bad throw, but the one he dropped, no. Catch the damn ball. All right, Gavin, your turn.
Yeah, that play kind of changed the outcome of the game, right? Because instead of going for a field goal there, they would have, that was the 60-yarder, I think, that he missed. And that would have kind of changed things. Man, I mean, it's obviously the field goal. That's the super ugly.
We're not on ugly yet.
Well, don't forget we've got 2 games that we can talk to right now. So you can go back to the Ravens game if you want to go back to the time machine.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I think we'd all rather forget that game.
Well, there's that. Sorry I brought it up.
I was just gonna maybe kind of go with the running backs room of like how Javonte's sort of he had a great 1 game and then 2 games, and I think his demise is a little bit overblown right now. But the fact that he was put in for 2 plays that game, I guess, goes back to my comment about the game plan there. But to completely abandon him so much is the way that we did. I'm just a little worried about Javonte right now, and is he going to be the Samaje Perine role now, just a blocker and maybe the occasional pass catcher? Who knows? Sean likes to switch up the game plan week to week, but I'm encouraged about Estime for sure, and his fumbling has proven it. But I'm just a little worried about Javonte right now. Steve.
So I'm going to go with the refs, and I will. I mean, overall, I think they did fairly well, but there was the one where they called the illegal contact on the sack of Mahomes. The reality is, even if there was nominally illegal contact there, which is very ticky-tacky to begin with, the fact that the play was already over by the time that happened when Mahomes got sacked, you should just go pick up the flag and be like, there was nothing worth calling there because he was already sacked. So that was a huge impact on the game. That would let you the Chiefs scoring a touchdown. You know,
Game changer.
the bribe checks keep landing in the refs' pockets, I assume.
Yeah. Well, I mean, didn't they call it on Surtain too? I remember hearing number 2 in there, and nobody showed a replay. Nobody knew what happened. It was just this ghost penalty that was just bizarre.
I mean, it was like he bumped him at the top of the route, but it's like the kind of thing that's like that happens every play. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. But it was Surtain, right? That they called it.
I think it was Surtain, yeah. Which further makes me think it's a suspect.
These Swifty refs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just so you guys see this, we were talking about running backs. Our friend Sean, or my friend Sean, guy who helps us with these shows, he's like, Stinks Williams has been struggling. But you know what? I do think we have a good running backs crew. I just don't know what's going on, why things aren't working out. And maybe with Estime, and I'll throw it to you, Todd, real quick after this. I think maybe with Estime being the big boy, because he is bigger than Javonte and all of that, and if he has solved his fumbling problems, it might allow for the other two to play more in their positions than they should be. So that, I just thought that was a continuing kind of comment to go with what we had talked about earlier. Okay, Todd, your bad.
So my original bad was going to be Williams' stat line, 1 rush for 1 yard, but we covered that pretty closely. I think I want to talk about our offensive play calling in the second half. That last drive was great, but we did not score half. And we had 3.
We didn't score half.
I think we had 3 and outs to start the third quarter. And this isn't the first time it's happened. I love Sean Payton as our coach because sometimes I think he's great and sometimes I think he's not great. He's supposed to be this offensive genius. Let's see it sometimes, right? But it's pretty discouraging. As discouraging as the last play was, that game probably could have been pretty well in hand a little bit earlier. We really outplayed them on both sides of the ball. And the lack of urgency of the third quarter was surprising to me.
Yeah. Is it Sean or is it Lombardi? That's my question.
I think it's a good question, but
Sean.
I mean, it's ultimately Sean's job, so
right. But I know the first, first drive is scripted. First couple of drives are scripted, and so he knows what's going on, and then it's Lombardi and him working together. But I agree, Todd. There's something going on. It's either we're not scripted right in the first and we come back and have to come from behind, or in this game, we're ahead and we did not keep the foot on the gas. The defense did. That's what.
Yeah.
Yeah. We let off on the gas on the offense for some reason. Now, I think it was probably because they wanted to run the clock down so you keep the running game going. But a couple of those third and whatevers, a screen pass behind the line of scrimmage to Mims, has that worked all year? No.
They seem to be desperately trying to find something for Mims to do other than return punts.
He lined up in the backfield quite a number of times yesterday. It was.
I mean, the only thing I can come up with is if he gets a break, if he's able to get past a couple of defenders and goes up the line, he'll break it for a while because there's not a lot of people that can keep up with him. He's one of the fastest guys on that team. But when you're already 5, 6, 7 on a third and you're throwing it 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage and it doesn't work. Now, maybe that might be also Bo needs to be able to read the defenses a little bit better and see what they're picking up so he can call an audible or scream Omaha like Peyton used to do, which is a clue we're changing things. But I don't know. So, yeah, the play calling is a little bit nauseous.
Yeah. The second play call.
Kind of to go along with this question that we just had, Sean had a question, which is, do you think they're playing it safe with Bo, or are they taking the training wheels off?
I don't think they're playing it safe with them at this
No,
point. I mean, it seems like they're calling. I don't see any. Like they're calling plays, deep shots. They're calling, anywhere over the middle of the field. Like I don't. Yeah, I think they're good.
They're not calling a ton of designed runs for him now. Like the last 2 games, They haven't really been putting him into danger. But we've been going up against pretty stout defenses. So
yeah, well, and it seemed like that was like they did more designed runs, more RPO when it was like trying to do like, he was kind of still trying to get him into a rhythm, and it seemed like now that he's kind of settled down a little more, they're just keeping him in the pocket more.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, but I do think they are playing to his strengths too. Like they're kind of
for sure
a little bit training wheels. He's still got to go through his progressions, and there's some things he's going to need to do. But I also think he's starting to gel more with some of these people. Like, did we think he would throw as much and throw a touchdown to Vele before yesterday's game? No, not really. Kroll's coming along. Our tight ends, they made a step forward. I think they took a half step back over the last 2 games, but they seem to be doing better too. So I think they're letting it go.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I agree.
Todd?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
Ugly.
Now we're going to go into the fun one, which we really alluded to in the beginning. But, all right, here's the ugly. Anyone have anything other than the field goal?
Well, I think the Baltimore game is pretty ugly.
Yeah.
I considered that one.
I think just real quick on that,
I have amnesia past Sunday.
Well, I think, and it's just like it's my ongoing relationship with Sean, but a lot of strange 4th down calls there. Played a little bit more aggressively than we probably should have when we were going in there. I think we felt we were sort of in the game in the first half, right? And then it just fell apart in the 3rd quarter. So anyways, I'm glad we don't have to, I'm glad the Baltimore game is behind us, and, best case scenario, we have to go back there again in late January.
I'm just going to throw out there that, like, we've talked about the play calling a little bit. I've noticed just a weird amount of hurry up offense being played and seemingly weird times. And my guess is that they see some matchup on the field and they want to try to take advantage of it, right? And we saw them doing that against the Ravens. We saw it against the Chiefs. And it's just like, it's not like, that's great if it works, but I feel like it's not. And then you're getting the defense back onto the field again. I'd like to see them doing that at Mile High and see how that goes, but not at sea level.
Gavin?
Yeah, I think there's the ugly part of it is that we have to play flawless football, right, to win. And, we're a young team with a young rookie quarterback, so you got to expect a little bit of that. But for us to win, we have to play mistake-free football. And I didn't mind the aggressiveness so much in the Ravens game because Sean knew that we were outmatched. Like, to keep up with those guys, we were going to have to put the gas pedal down and just try things that they weren't expecting and just go for it and hope that everything works out. It didn't work out during the Ravens, but we were a little more conservative with it, but we were flawless. Like, Bo didn't have any interceptions. We didn't have any fumbles. Like, everything, picked off except for that weird kickoff or that kick return on the attempted 60-yard deal that didn't go in. But it's just that part of the game plan to me is coming along, but it's still an ugly truth that we have to play completely flawless football to win against really good teams. And we're getting there. We're learning how to do it, but our margin for error is 0 right now.
I agree with all of that. My ugly was the field goal and my comment on Alex Forsyth and the coaches. So I don't think we need to rehash all that.
Yeah. Hideous.
Moving on.
Gavin, I couldn't get the picture I wanted to pull a picture up, everyone, so you could see like how bad this really was, but I can't seem to figure it out. I'm still learning to be a producer, people. So
I'll just put it on screen here.
there we go.
All right, there's Alex on the
Like
ground.
right there. He's like on the ground, and there's
There's
3
like
people
5
over.
Chiefs over him.
Yeah. Like it was bad.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about it earlier. I mean, we alluded to the Saints game where Justin Simmons jumped over the line and stopped a field goal, and we won at the Saints. It's hard being on the other side of that situation.
Hey, we were there. We were there at that game. That was
that's one of my favorite pictures of you, Gavin.
unbelievable. That was an incredible game to go to.
It was an incredible
I'm
game.
sick of paying off that karma. I'm sick of paying off Matt Prater's karma from the Tebow years. Like, I feel that we're still paying off that shit. Some of the Manning karma that's just like, all right.
I think our debt is almost paid.
The well is dry. If it's not dry now,
I
then
have a little karma with Will Lutz for firing Brandon McManus.
No. If you heard any reporting
Not a lot.
I don't know.
Not a lot,
We'll
but
pick better with
some.
him. I know.
I mean, I don't hate on him for the 60-yard attempt because he attempted it. He just, like, if he put too much into it, it could go one way or the other, and he wouldn't make it through the goalpost. And so
Like him make it sea level, and he just doesn't have that kind of leg. And I mean, they said he was making like 60. He made a 63-yarder during warm-ups or whatever, which that's kind of just perfect conditions. But it could have happened. It didn't. No big deal.
I mean, that's one of I would say the ugly side of kicking in the NFL is if you're a kicker, you really want to come to Denver because your balls will go further. You can set records in Denver if you want to. So,
talk to Elam.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, that was good, bad, and ugly. We're gonna move to another. Hold on, I gotta turn this off. We're going to move to another section that we've done a couple of times on this show, and I have called it overreaction versus reality. And I'm going to pose a couple of questions to these guys, and we will discuss those. So the first one is, Bo Nix is our franchise quarterback. Gavin.
Reality for now. I mean, if there's the whole point of this season is to make sure that Bo's the guy. And I think at this point, we've already answered that. I think most fans are now comfortable saying that, yeah, he's our guy. Season's a success. Whatever happens from here on out is icing on the cake. We know who to move forward with from now on. So I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, reality. Todd?
You know what? I'll just say that I think that because there are so many quarterbacks drafted ahead of him, and obviously great, incredible talent of the quarterbacks drafted ahead of him. I don't know if we really have the mindset to understand how good he is. Like, is there a potential that he's going to end up being the best quarterback coming out of this draft class? I don't think I ever thought that. What I really thought, I think, coming into it is that he was going to be a good, top 15 serviceable quarterback. I didn't think that he would have a potential to be, a top 10 or a top 5. But here we go. Todd Hanson. He's playing like Brady did when Brady was first in. There's just a maturity there, and he's making throws and making plays and keeping his wits about him. That's like really special. And I think that's the thing about yesterday's game. Like, that was not an easy game to keep your composure in. That drive at the end of the game, he did everything he needed to do. And that was the defending champion Kansas City Chiefs at home. So he's certainly going to be my pick for franchise quarterback of the year. And I'm just really interested to see if we're going to change our perceptions on how good he could be over time.
Well, I think where I'm going to land on this one.
I noticed you leaned back.
Yeah. So First of all, he had better statistics than Mahomes in this game. So let's start there.
Yeah.
He is statistically the best of the rookie quarterbacks that have played this season. Obviously, there's been some injuries and whatever else. Also, he had the benefit of not being drafted by the Bears. So that's always helpful for a quarterback.
Or the
I
Commander.
think that ultimately what makes a good quarterback is a combination of the quarterback and their skills matched up with the system. And Sean went out there and found a quarterback that would work well in his system. And that's what we have. And it is working because I think those match well. Like maybe if you sent him to the Cowboys or, somewhere else that it wouldn't work. But he works for us, and I look forward to his contract renewal in a few years.
You mean if he'd gone to the Bears?
Well, I was thinking about teams that are having problems, so I start off with the Bears. But I don't want to pick on them too much. So I got to go to the Cowboys. Raiders, that wouldn't have worked out well. I don't know.
Oh, they were going to take him.
They would have.
Oh, yeah.
They would have, yeah. Yeah. I'm glad we didn't trade up for him. I'm glad we stayed exactly where we're at. And
Yep.
I agree. Like, his statistics are phenomenal for a team that's 5-5.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people didn't put a lot of faith in what we were doing and what was going on. And yeah, our defense has kept us in a lot of these games. But still, Bo Nix is showing, like you said, a lot of maturity, a lot of growth throughout the season so far, and we're only halfway through. Let's see what this kid can do. Well, he's not really a kid. I don't think you can call a 26-year-old man a kid, but let's see what he can do. And he's only going to get better next year. He's going to be working with these receivers even longer and able to I want to see what he could really see if him and Franklin can actually get back to their ways in college.
He's 24, by the way.
Oh, I thought he was 26.
Right.
No, we got an
Sorry.
extra 2 years out of it, Tina.
Well, he's older than the rest of the rookies in his class. So, I mean, but yeah, I agree. I am 100% on that one. All right. So the other one I have is, and I'm going to ask us to be like the clip I showed last week. There's going to be a little Karnak. I want all of us to put our Karnak hats on and tell us, predict the future. The Broncos will make the playoffs. Now, statistically, this is hard. We're at like 33% to make the playoffs right now.
This is going to be my close. I think we can win the next 4 games. And I think that if we come into that last week at 9-4, one of those 3 games is winnable.
Yeah,
we close with the Chargers, Bengals, and Chiefs. So that's going to be tough. But and I think Atlanta, if we'll know a lot next Sunday. We need to beat Atlanta. That I think our season hinges on that. Just not just in terms of record, but just in terms of seeing if we can bounce back and learn from what happened yesterday. But after that, I mean, totally winnable games.
Yeah, I think we're a 10. I think we're a 10-win team. I kind of picked them to win 10 games at the beginning of the season when nobody would. Looking at this, I'm like, you guys, this could be a solid 10-win team. But it's not completely out of the cards. So, yeah, I think it all depends kind of what the Bengals do in there. I think we'll be fighting with those guys, and the Texans don't seem as strong as they did last year, oddly. So, yeah, we'll see. It's going to be kind of interesting, but we're in the driver's seat right now of our own destiny. And yeah, Todd, I would love to win the next 4 games. 4 out of 5 would be.
Well, we're talking Atlanta, Las Vegas, Cleveland, and Indy. I mean,
yeah,
we're
those
better than all 4 of those teams. So.
Easily.
I think it's doable. 3, maybe 4.
Yeah.
And I agree with what Gavin is saying. I think the Falcons game is going to show what this team's mettle is if they bounce back from this loss. Okay. If I mean, I'm not even saying like if it's a good game and we lose again, maybe by a field goal or score or something, I'm okay with that. That's showing growth. Just let's not repeat the Ravens game. And because then that shows that they're taking this hard. Like all the sports guys and everything are saying, like, the locker room yesterday after the game had the same vibe that the locker room had when we lost to the Ravens in the AFC playoff game.
Yeah.
Like they were taking this really hard. So again, if we can win the next 3 or 4, which the Falcons didn't beat the Saints. The Saints won on Sunday. So the Falcons are beatable.
Yeah.
I thought they were beatable before last weekend, but
Yeah.
the Falcons are having their own issues. So
they're scaring me a little bit just because they're going to look for revenge to get right, I think, again. And they are pretty solid.
Defensively, they're solid.
Yeah.
They're pretty solid.
Even off, Bijan's really coming together. Like,
yep.
So we're going to have our hands full with him. And if Kirk plays a decent game, but if we can shut him down, which isn't terribly difficult to do, we should be okay. I'm going to be there in live cheering him on. So I hope it'll be all right. I'll bring the mojo. But I don't know. You're right. But after this, if they can win Atlanta, they'll have a ton of momentum going into those next 3. And we'll sweep the NFC South, which.
I mean, I do think Sean has a little insight into those teams and how they're playing. I mean, he didn't always play these coaches or these particular teams, but he knows these teams really well.
Right.
So, and Gavin, if we do win, I'm going to need some video of you dancing for the show. Todd and Steve have already danced on the show. So, all right, Mr. Believer.
So I'm going bold. First of all, yes, I could see how the locker room would be feeling like they did after that, after that loss to the Ravens back in the AFC champion, or the AFC, was that championship playoffs? Okay.
Yeah.
Problem with that is that you have that bad taste in your mouth for the entire offseason.
Right.
It's a playoff game.
Yeah.
They get to clean that out this weekend against the Falcons, and I have no doubt they will do that. I originally called for them to go 2-3 in this streak, right? I said between the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Falcons, they go 2 out of 3. And I believe my prediction holds on a technicality because that kick was crazy. So I'm going to declare retroactively that we won against the Chiefs, technically speaking. So I'm right, 2 out of 3 times. Continuing this prediction trend, I'm going that we are undefeated for the rest of the season. The caveat, I think that the Chiefs will probably be able to rest their starters. They're undefeated right now. I don't see that changing drastically. They'll rest their starters. We can get a good, easy win to wrap up the season at the end. But I don't see any reason why we can't beat any of the teams on any given day that we have left. We could screw it up. We could make a mistake. We could have, 7 Chargers try to jump over one of our linemen. Who knows? But I think it's actually quite realistic that we win out the rest of the season. So
you heard it here first.
There you go.
All right, I'm going to flip up. Sean has a comment. He has a clip that he shows on his show. It says, does that make me crazy? No, Sean, because you'd be crazy with the rest of us. We all think we can do it. And I think we have a good shot. We've got to, like Gavin said, play flawless football for probably the rest of the season. And the caveat that, well, you know what? Even if we are playing the Chiefs and they play some of their higher starters, I think there's going to be a big burr up some Bronco butts.
Yeah, we already beat them. We beat them yet, and we beat them this weekend. Except for the kick. So we can do it again.
All right. Well, kind of to go with Sean's thing, just a crazy prediction. What do you think is going to happen in the next game? What do you guys want to see?
I have to make another crazy prediction? Okay.
Yeah. Gavin.
Oh, man. I want to say one of the receivers is going to have their best game of the season, either Sutton or Vele. I'm thinking Vele. They're keeping him a little close to the chest. I think it's going to be Vele's game next week. So I think we're going to air it out. I think we're going to let the handcuffs, the non-existent handcuffs off of Bo, and I think we're going to air it out. Receivers are going to have the best game of their season so far.
Steve.
Mims in the backfield, like that is finally going to work in some. That we'll get some big play, maybe a touchdown, but it's going to be like, oh, I see why they're doing that now. So I think it'll be good.
Todd.
Yeah, I have a Mims prediction, but it's on the other side. Mims is going to take one to the house.
Oh,
Big day for Mims.
He's professionally overdue. He's professionally overdue. It's time.
Yeah. He's criminally.
It's 2 touchdowns in the game, 1 on the return, 1 on running out of the backfield. Mims begins.
So Sean had a comment when we were talking about the playoffs. So this is what mine's going to be based off of. Is like talking about Kirk Cousins having a resurgence. I think Nick Bonito is going to get his 7th game with a sack. And I think Kirk's going to hurt after this game because our rushers are going to be coming for him. So
it might be his 9th, Tina. I think it would be his 9th to continue the streak.
8.
That would be amazing.
Like we said earlier. So, all right. Well, that's been the Mile High Minute. Mile High Minute. That is a tongue twister, I gotta say. And as always, here with Goal Line Gavin, Touchdown Todd, and Steve the Believer. So thanks for watching. As always, wonderful talking to you guys. And we'll see you on the flip side of the Falcons game. All right?
Take care.
Bye-bye.